Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Pour up a cup and vibe on.
And I don't hear the sound.
3, 2, 1.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Pour up a cup and vibe on. Boss Lady Star is on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You are now tuned in to Boss Lady Star.
That's my intro. Like I said, you guys will see the intro on YouTube. You will see the intro on Twitter, and you will see the intro on Facebook. I'm really not a Facebook person, but hey, we on there doing our stream, and our live from there. So welcome to season 2, episode 3. And I'm gonna have some people in today coming to share their opinions about wants and needs in a relationship. So hello, people. Thank you guys for joining. Everybody that's on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, welcome. We are streaming live from TikTok. So if you do not have a TikTok account, I suggest you get one. But we are going to be moving over to StreamYard eventually because it's just a more functional stream for everybody else. So, and then TikTok will like to play nice, so I can't get their code onto that system so that they can stream from all at one time. And that's what I was trying to do originally. But hey, it is what it is. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Make sure you drive safe. Thank you guys, everybody that's joining in. So we're gonna get started. And if you guys want to join in the conversation, you can either comment or you can just you don't have to raise your hand. You can just do the invite. As long as I see you're coming in, to have a conversation with us about relationships. And today's topic is wants versus needs. If you're able to come in and talk about about that topic, then feel free to go ahead and come in for that. Other than that, we're not talking about nothing else. We're not doing no battles or anything like that. Everybody wants to come on and battle. I'm like, no, this is not the time. That's not what we're doing right now. So today we're talking about wants and needs. And basically what people want out of a relationship and what they need out of a relationship. And that's something that you communicate with your partner. And a lot of people don't do that. They just think that, you've been in relationships before, you've dealt with somebody, but everybody's different. So you have to figure out what your partner wants and what they need. And at the same time, you have to figure out their wants and needs. And it's not always equal. And it could change on a day-to-day basis. Not saying that somebody, because if they flip-flop like that, well, you might want to consider that relationship. But not on a daily change. But at the same time, if there's something that they're needing from you, whether it's emotions, whether it's, a hug, a kiss on the cheek, or, telling them they did a great job that day, whatever it is they're looking for, either spouse, girlfriend, a live-in, whatever. If it's a relationship that you have with somebody, you need to find out exactly what it is they're looking for. And I think that's important. Knowing what your partner wants, that can be something that can go on forever as far as trying to figure out their day-to-day or trying to figure out their long-term, what they're looking for. So it's important, very important, that you find out, and you do that how? By communicating. So I want people to come in and tell me what you think is important as far as a want or a need in a relationship. Some people like holding hands. I think it's too hot to hold hands for the most part. Especially outside. Now we inside, okay, we can hold hands or cuddle or whatever. PDA, that was something that somebody said last week. They were saying public display of affection. Some people like that, some people don't. I definitely like PDA, but don't be sitting around, walk around squeezing on my booty. I mean, my booty ain't that this big, but still, I don't want you all rubbing on my butt. Like, you can do that at the house, you know what I'm saying? So we ain't got to do that out, out and about. You don't have to do it like that. But like I said, you got to figure out what your partner wants and what they need. Another thing that's talked about a lot is the topic of sex. So people say, oh, well, I want it every single day. Some people just want it once a week. Some people want it once a month. That might be the case too. You have to have that conversation with your mate. Me, I can go 7 days, hey, but it's not about what I want. They might be like, hey, I can't do 7 days. And I have to respect that. So you have to talk to your partner and find out what they want and what they need, what they're looking for. And that's very important, very important to have that discussion because you don't want to be the person that is. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it, Cash. And whenever you're ready to jump in, let me know. Like I said, if you guys want to chime in on the conversation, I want to just be talking about myself. I prefer to have more people discussing wants and needs in relationships. So feel free just to do the invite. Anybody that's in the comments, if you guys want to come in and talk about it and have your own opinion about wants and needs in relationships, make sure you guys just jump in and we can talk about it. We can definitely talk about it. So let me know some of the wants and the needs in your relationships. What are you guys looking for? That's cool. If you can't, that's fine. You can join us next time. I'll be here every Saturday at 6. I'm going to stop doing one Saturday a month because I'm going to be doing events. But thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. But other than that, we're definitely going to be focusing on the topic today. So tell me, guys, some of your wants and some of your needs are relationships. Some of the things that you want. So a want and a need is different. Of course, everybody knows that. We're all adults. We understand that you can't get everything you want. And you might not get everything you need half the time. But you just kind of make it work. You kind of go with the flow. Communication. Yes, that's a big one. Everybody likes that one. Everybody likes communication in a relationship. That's very important to have open dialogue with your partner. And being clear about it. Don't lie about stuff. Like last week we were talking about friends and exes. So if you have new, like Drake said, no new friends, no new friends. If you have new friends, let your partner know, hey, I have a new friend. I want you to know who this person is. So they're not sidetracked or sideswiped and you're having this friendship with somebody that your spouse or relationship or friend or lover or whatever, they don't know nothing about this other person. And you have a full friendship with them and they have no clue who that person is. That can ruin a relationship because you're actually having a secret relationship, even though it's a friendship. Why can't you just tell your friend who that person is, your loved one or whoever it is, who that person is, So I think that's very important. Communication is definitely a big thing. What's up? We got Cash in the building. Hey, Cash. Okay, no problem. But yeah, so communication is definitely important when it comes to a want. And I think that's definitely a need. So it's definitely needed in a relationship to have a communication. I feel being friends with your ex when you're in a whole relationship is wild. It could be wild. I mean, it depends on what kind of friendship you have. What kind of friendship you started with and how it ended. So it really depends on your friendship. Hey, what's going on, Brown Eyes? How are you? So yeah, we talked about friends and exes last week. That was actually a really good episode. Some people are like, I totally disagree. I can't be friends with my exes. They're exes for a reason. And then there's people that have, friendships with their ex because of it was a good breakup. And I don't know if people understand there are such things as good breakups. So it doesn't have to be negative, like, oh, I don't like this person. I don't want to have nothing to do with this person. You can break up and still be cordial. Especially if the kids are involved. If kids are involved, it's best to stay friends at least be cordial. You ain't gotta be like best of friends. Hey girl, hey. You ain't gotta be best of friends, but I think it is important to have some type of friendship because you don't want to just throw it out the window, especially if it was a decent relationship. So welcome in, and we're gonna welcome in Miss Cash. How are you today?
I'm okay,
thank you. Thank you. Good, lucky for you, girl. I need sleep. I'm running on fumes right now. I promise you. Up all night last night, and then up first thing this morning. I do not do mornings. I'm like, what do? I try to take a power nap. I almost couldn't wake up for the live. it's just. I was like, kept pushing the snooze, but I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get up so I can get started. So you tell me some of your wants and needs. What do you think is important as far as wants and needs in relationships?
So I want to go back just a second because you were talking about the relationship with exes and everything.
Yeah, that was last week's. Yeah, last week's. It was good. It was good.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you, very nice. But I think it's also like it's very critical that you have a good relationship with your ex. Now, like for my ex, it was so many years, double-digit years, right?
Okay.
So we have a really good relationship. And I'm going to bring it to today is because we're talking about wants and needs.
Right.
So now I know what I needed in the marriage, in the relationship.
Speak on it.
But yes, I know what I need versus the things that I want. A need is something. See, this is the thing. A lot of people say, no, I need them to want me.
Right.
But I can want you, but you could disappear from me.
Absolutely.
I need is like, I need you in my life. This is like for eternity type of thing.
Right.
And, people get scared when you start talking about relationships and things like that. But that's exactly the reason why I have not tied in all the way with somebody because of that. You know?
Wait, you haven't tied in because of the fear, or you haven't tied? Well, you haven't. Wait, cut on. You made a statement, but I'm trying to get clarity.
I have not tied it all the way because people don't understand the difference between that. The need
Got
and
you.
the want. Okay?
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I need, and for me, I need to be friends.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
I'm talking about best friends. I'm talking about I can talk to them about anything.
Everything.
Communication gotta be, all of that gotta be there.
Right.
And so many like, okay, people try to talk to me, right?
Right.
And it's okay, I'm good with that because I don't jump out there with them.
Right.
They jump up there with me. I want to be friends first.
Right, absolutely.
I always talk about this. I think I talk about this probably in every live. So don't try to jump underneath of me, before you can even get to know the essence of it.
Okay. Yes, honey. Yes. I like what you said too, Christian. You said you could want somebody but not need them. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can want somebody but not need them. And that is true. That's a good point that you made too, Cash, because it's so quick. People are so quick to make that move and want to, slide in. Especially like, people nowadays, they just feel so bold. I think that during that time of COVID, when everybody was locked in and they had nowhere else to go and they was like, sheltered and they couldn't really get out. And then they started going more to social media. There's so many people that are either in unhappy relationships or whatever with their spouse or their significant other. And then they're still reaching out to these online people because they get a good feeling of being wanted from them. So, and it's not real, but they be living on it though. They be living on it. So yeah, it's very important. Hey, Roberta Anthony, how are you? It's very important to have the realistic side of things and know that, okay, this is the relationship that I want and this is what I'm looking for. And like I said, it goes back to communication. You have to be able to sit down with that person and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for from you. And sometimes it's a difficult conversation.
I think, Kristen, you might be right in the generation. They don't want to really commit. They
Right.
want to do them inside of a relationship. That's
Right.
how it goes.
Right.
It's sad.
It is
Let
sad.
me not say it.
Right.
I ain't judging them because I'm at the point where if you want to be in a multiple relationship with someone, do what you do.
Right. Right.
I just want the one
For you. Right.
One.
Yeah, people need to be honest about what they want. Absolutely. And so that's the thing when I was going back to the COVID time frame, because they can be very honest with you, especially these online relationships. They can be very honest with you, but they honest to a certain extent because they ain't telling you everything, so, and that's where it gets confusing because they're telling you what you want to hear or what you think. They're telling you what they think you want to hear.
Right.
But it might not be something that you need to hear. Right.
I need you to be straightforward with me. Give it to me raw because I'm going to give it back to you like that. Like, okay,
right.
I'm going to let you know. If you're not ready for the answer, don't ask the question.
Absolutely.
And respectfully. I'm not
right.
being disrespectful in my delivery, but at the same time, you got to communicate with me.
Right.
Ask questions if you're curious about something. Ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. Somebody said, he said the thing, Christian said, that's the thing, tough people. Oh, that's the thing, though. Tough people aren't playing too many games. I guess for people play too many games. Got it. Don't give your representative exactly. That's exactly what it boils down to. And like I said, it happens a lot, especially with online. I'm a people person. I like to get out. I like to mix. I like to mingle. I speak to pretty much everybody. I don't care what what they look like, what they don't. If they purple, blue, green, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I can speak to pretty much any person and say, hey, how you doing? And that's not, I'm not trying to flirt with them or talk to them. I'm just having a conversation. However, when it's online, that's why I usually keep my DMs off because it's like they're sliding in for the wrong reasons. Oh, I seen that video you did. Okay. I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of comedy. I do a lot of joking. I do a lot of playing and I do a lot of stuff that's real too. But you're not going to get to know that off the rip. You have to be able to communicate with me and talk to me. Then you'll get to know the other side of Boss Lady. But, and then that representative, they across the board, huh?
Online dating is for the birds. A lot of people person date online. Like I have never been on a dating site. Let me say that.
Right.
I've met, people on TikTok, so to speak. But no.
Right. I'm mentioning this line. People are leaving things out that we need to know before. Absolutely. And that becomes that whole want and need thing. It's like, okay, You know, I want the truth. And like Cash said, she said it very clearly, like speak on it, like tell me exactly what's what. If I'm asking a question, I want the honest answer. Don't keep telling me no. If I'm asking if you're married and you like, nah, I'm not, but you really are, come on now. And then I find out later, then I really can't trust you going forward because you lied. And I'm gonna remember that. So yeah, and then you don't have to. That's the thing. You don't have to lie about things. Like I want the honest truth. You know, I might still decide to mess with you. That's just my decision. But at the same time, I want the truth. Don't sugarcoat it for me. But yeah, it's like the one thing I want to be able to communicate, like you said, openly with my partner and be like, hey, I had a great day, or I had a horrible day, or hey, this is what I would like to try, you know, something new, some new food spot, whatever it may be. It could be something small, or it could be something major, but at the same time, I want to be able to be open enough to have that relationship and talk to whoever I'm with. People these days be lying about the most. Exactly. And see, that's the problem too in relationships is if I find out that my spouse or my boyfriend or whomever I'm with, or whoever I'm dating at the time, could be a fly on the wall, whoever I'm dating, if they lie about the littlest thing, then I'm constantly thinking like, what they lying about this bigger.
Exactly. You know something serious, they definitely gonna lie about it. They lie about something small that you don't even have to lie about.
Right. And like, why did you say such and such? And it was such and such. Oh, well, what I meant to. Okay, don't even worry about it. I'll be like, check, right? I'll be like,
I remember.
yes.
That's not what you said when we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Still, yeah, I'm there because you told me something different.
Right. Yeah. So don't get caught up in what you're saying and doing, because that's two different things too. People want to say one thing and do something totally different. That just makes me look at you sideways. I don't care who it is, especially if I'm dating you. But if it's like, even if it's what comes to friends, I'll be looking like, oh, they moving different. Okay.
With a friend, you have no reason to lie.
Right. Absolutely none. So I was like, when I check them, I'll be like, okay. Because that's another type of friendship, another type of relationship is your friendship, for me to tell everything up front so there will be no surprises later. Absolutely. That's true too. Yeah, if you tell everything up front, but it doesn't always come out like that. You can sit down and give a full interview, and then there's like, okay, there's stuff you just didn't say. There's stuff you didn't.
I want you to gradually learn me, because if I give you too much of it,
overload,
it's gonna fizzle. You ain't gonna remember.
Right.
We need to gradually get into this thing.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. You don't want to do that no more.
They just want to throw everything out here. Throw it at you. Here's everything. You be like, okay. Right. You're like, okay, let me start with this appetizer. We're gonna get to that course. Right. But okay, so that's like more of the needing side, is like needing that commitment. And then what are some specific wants, like on your side? What are some things that you think about as far as relationships that you want out of a relationship?
I want that. Okay, so these
not necessarily a need.
Yeah, I desire, but I can live without it.
Right.
All right. I desire to have walks in the park. I love walks in the park. Maybe it's mushy to some people. I love it. I don't mind holding hands. And granted, if it's too hot, it's like hands being a little clammy.
Right.
Okay.
Get after you.
I want somebody just to enjoy the water, the beach, just the sound with me. I want somebody just to enjoy the music with me. I mean, I want them to do that. I can do it myself.
Right.
But I desire to do that with someone else.
Okay. Like, y'all better pay attention over there. I'll be over there. Right, just enjoying life together. That's true too. But you got to figure out what your enjoyment of life is, because your enjoyment of life and your partner's enjoyment of life might be two different things. So it's definitely the point of wanting to know or getting to know what your partner wants, out of life. You might be like, okay, just coming home every day, paying bills, and get a little something once a week. And that might be them. Right, they can tell that.
I need just a little more. And you push them to that. You don't have to force it, but slowly, gradually. And if they don't catch on, you communicate it.
Right.
But still, if they don't catch on, it's something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. So wants for me, I think my wants and my needs, they kind of like rub hand in hand, but at the same time, wants for me is mainly communication. It's a want, but it's definitely needed. And I want clear communication, because I could talk all day. We could talk for days on end, months on out. But if we ain't talking about nothing, what's the point in talking? We need to talk about some definitions of what we're doing and where we're going. You know, looking at the future. I love to sit there and talk to my mate about, okay, what we doing. You know, I like to plan things out. Oh, what we doing in a couple of months? What we doing next week? Some people like to live day to day. I can live day to day on some wake up, go to sleep. But as far as like relationship, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I need some kind of structure. I need some structure.
Another thing is what I need check-ins, because the same way you felt about me in the beginning,
right,
to the middle, to close to
good afternoon,
where we're going, you got to check in, because you got to know, are we still on the same page? Has
right,
your thought process changed?
Hasn't anything changed?
You know,
right.
We still here because, you know, I did check-ins because I was like that,
right? Right.
I was dating somebody, and they were cool in the beginning, and then I did a check-in probably about 6 months in, 8 months in. I was like, you know, respectfully, I really like you.
I can see that too. I can see that.
Yes.
But it's being honest. Yeah, they call it a temperature check, a temp check. Yeah, so it's definitely important to do those. You know, she said about 6 months to 8 months, and she was like, "Look, it be like that sometimes, though. It do be like that sometimes." So yeah, but reassurance, you're absolutely right, Kirsten. Reassurance is important. Yeah. It's just like, hold up.
You know what my reassurance is? My reassurance is that if he with me, I don't care if it's a room full of beautiful women. He only see me up in that.
Right.
Okay? He see all these beautiful women, but it's not like that. And I might say, oh, look at her over there. Then you can go over here and look at a couple, you know, glance at her or whatever.
Right.
But hey. I wanted him to see me.
Right.
See me, not everybody. You know,
right.
Even though it's other beautiful women out here, we know that. Like it's other attractive, handsome men.
Right. So as quick as I am to point out a female, I'll point out a male too. What's going on, Top Dog? I'll sit there and be like, you know, hey, oh look, that gentleman has on a nice outfit. He has a nice beard. You know, he's trimmed up, looking good. I'll do that. I'll go across the board. Oh yeah, she has some beautiful, huge boobs. You know what I'm saying? I'll point it out. You're right. They're like, oh yeah, boobs. Exactly. So I'm like, to me, it's like, you know, you can have those conversations with, you know, the person that you're with. You can have those conversations, and you do understand that you guys are having like more of an open relationship as far as talking. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, just as far as the communication goes. So if you can sit there and you can have that with your partner, you're like, you winning, you know, you're winning. So it doesn't matter what kind of area you're in, what kind of atmosphere, you're always in it. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. But yeah, so yeah, like I think that's very important, just to make sure that your partner knows what you want and that your partner knows exactly what you're looking for. And things do change. So like you said, doing a temp check from 6 to 8 months.
So I always say that, right? So I was talking to somebody, right, trying to get to know them.
Right.
So to me, the vibe was just it could have been me, but the vibe was just going in another direction. I was like, I'm just checking in with you. Checking in with me. Why would you check in with me? I don't do that with you checking in with me. You ain't no probation officer or something. I'm like, well, yeah, I never talked to him again, but I'm just saying.
Right. Right. It's just like I never talked to him again, but yeah, that's definitely a no right there. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome in. Yeah, that's too funny. I try to not be nitpick, and I try not to go back and forth to do tit for tat. I try my best not to do that, especially in relationships, because I'm at that what they say when you get older. I'm at that age. Right. So I'm like, hey, boss hall. So I'm at that point in my life right now. I don't have time to put, because then it's just taking too much of my time trying to get back at you every time you do something. You know what I'm saying? So we call it the okay, exactly. I call it the exit sign. Definitely exit sign. But yeah, if I start noticing that I feel like I have to constantly get back, then that's definitely a go. I'm like, yeah, you out. You out. Right. It's like, you out. Thank you, appreciate it. Right. It's like, you know, we sat there, we had this great vibe, everything was going in the right place, but then all of a sudden you went to the left. Like, what's going on? You know, so Yeah, so like I said, it's very important to have those discussions as far as wants and needs. Oh, okay, let me see. Triple P is trying to get in. I know she was driving before, but she might not be now. But yeah, so I think that's very important to be able to let somebody know. And like, you have to have that conversation, especially so when people are too quick to want to move in. That's my fear now. Hey. Yeah, when they trying to move in, I'm like, we barely know each other, and you trying to just move in. Hold on, wait a minute. Let's have some conversations. Let's have some.
We need to do some spending nights.
Right. So sleepovers or something. Like, look, we can't just go straight into you moving in, because you moving in, you're gonna be kicked out. I'm like, you have to have a place to go.
And you're gonna be embarrassed.
Right.
You gotta go back where you came from.
Right. Yeah. So give us where you at? You at work? Oh. Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday, grandson. Happy birthday, grandson. Oh, look at you. Look at she too happy. Another Leo. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, okay, give us a breakdown real quick of your wants and needs. I'm about to go to a commercial break in 1 second.
Okay. I need communication. That's I need to talk to me. Like Boss said, I can do a lot of talking, but if I'm the one that's sitting there and we both sitting there like some birds, church and stuff, I'll be like, okay. I mean, when you're going through stuff,
Right.
If you need somebody, you can, if I'm your rider, I need a ride. So you need to talk to me.
Right. Absolutely. Right. 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 Right.
But yeah, so it's that's part of the negotiation. Communicate. You know what I want.
Right.
I know what you want. If it could be a deal breaker, it could be a deal breaker today. Well, you might be compromised, but it's like
right.
Shoot.
Let me pause you for 1 second. I know you like right in the middle because I'm trying to do it at 6:30 every single time. I'm gonna play this 30-second commercial real quick. You guys are not gonna see it on this screen, but they're gonna see it over here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can go ahead and push play on there. But then just click on that one.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
All right, so if you guys didn't hear that, it's ctrmedianetwork.com. Make sure you guys go check them out, especially podcasters. If you have a podcast and you're trying to promote a podcast, check out ctrmedia.com. Let them know Boss Lady sent you. Those are my peoples over there. But yeah, I'm definitely on their network. My podcast is with them, and they've helped me push that across many, many different platforms as far as podcasting goes. So I'm in your ear. Anything that's social media related as far as podcasting, you definitely find Broadcast with Boss Lady Star there. Yeah, we're good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So I'm gonna wait till Cash. Well, we could keep going because you said you're gonna give your report as far as your wants and then your needs. What are your needs? Do you have any specific things as far as needs go? I know you gotta get in with the babies.
Just communication.
Mm-hmm.
I need that attention.
Yeah, that's important to me.
A little bit of attention.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be all about your homies and friends. Or even if you just sit there, baby, come over, rub on it, right? Let me know that I'm here. I don't mind doing that. I like the DJ. I don't need it, but do it here and there. Basically show me that you want me. Show me that you see me. Not know just well, I'm over here and you up there and everything about it. And why is you here and why am I here?
Right. Yeah, that's true
He said
too.
men don't easily talk much. That's true.
Right. So that might be an issue. That's a deal breaker. Yeah, that is true. That is a good topic. I mean, a good point to make as far as men don't talk much. And I think that if you're I don't know. To me, you're absolutely right, and I can't say from a male's point of view, but I can say this: if you're that person's person, they're gonna talk to you. I think
it's going to take some time
right.
to dig into that.
They might not jump straight out there, but when they're comfortable with you and you've built that that comfort zone for each other, not just one sided, but that comfort zone for each other, I think that's when most people feel comfortable enough to talk. So whether it's your mate, if that's that person for you, they're gonna open up and they're gonna share. They'll cry with you, you know what I'm saying, and then they're gonna give you their feelings and open up and be honest with you about everything and anything because they don't have nothing to hide, like Cash said in the beginning. You don't have nothing to hide. So yeah, instead of holding stuff back, I think it's very important to have that. Our communication is not really dialogue. We will tell you by our actions. That's not always good, but I mean it happens like that sometimes. It does happen like that.
The actions do speak louder than words, but still, you got to speak because we ain't mind readers. You might lose some weight. It might, it might be one of the days. You might be weight, and you be like, but they got an attitude.
Right. Hi, Trina. How are you? Yeah, that's true.
They might be going through something you just don't know. Those mouths don't get fed.
Right. That's true.
Men are more. Some men. Let me just say this. Some men are more doers. Like he's saying, his actions. That's the way he communicates.
Right.
That's his love language.
Right.
By action, by doing. But the question is, can you deal with that?
Right.
Because some women need a man that's really clingy on them and with them all the time. Like that's not me.
Right.
Like that. So can you deal with that? Because it's all facets of us. Men and women.
Right. Absolutely. He said talking is a sign of weakness in our minds.
That's a good point. I mean, that's an interesting point.
Right, very interesting. As far as I've never seen it like that, but I've never actually had somebody say that, that they look at it as a sign of weakness. So that's the first time I'm hearing. And there's probably a lot of people that do feel like that out there, but I've never heard or read it or heard somebody say that before. But that is interesting. It feels like whining about issues. Okay, I get that. I can understand. Right. Right.
The issue with internalize, because I used to be that person. I was that person in my marriage. Internalize everything, didn't say anything, but then I got to a point and I blew.
Right.
I blew.
Oh, she said I keep everything in. It's hard talking to a man. Yeah, hey, good afternoon. But yeah, it's she said Dini said it's hard talking to a man. Like I said, communication is everything. So if you are trying to talk to, you have to figure out what their love language is so to be able to communicate with them freely and be able to talk, without feeling you're holding yourself back, and be able to open up but like Cash said, she made a valid point. You can't just jump into it. That's going to take some time to be able to build that up and feel comfortable enough. Both of you feel comfortable enough so that you could have that communication and talk with each, one another and be able to say, these are my needs and my wants, So I think that's important if you're able to go and talk to your spouse or talk to your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever and say like, hey, this is what's going on. We just don't feel talking about solves anything. I guess some people do feel like that. Good afternoon. But yeah, you said it's.
When it doesn't solve anything when you're just talking in circles.
Right.
When there's no understanding between the two of them.
Right. Or if you're not talking at all, and then you're just trying to go with actions, and then it's like you get to this point where are you going to go from there? You know what I'm saying? It's either you have to check out or check in. And so if you're not communicating at all, then it's like, okay, what's the point? What are we doing here? So it's like, what are we doing here? If you can't talk, what's the point? Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's, like I said, we're all kind of pretty much saying the same thing. Communication is like really big when it comes to a need and a want on both sides.
We need that.
What about being an active listener? Absolutely. Also depends on
communicate with us too when we had that
calls. Patrick said also depends on the tone. Oh, tone is everything, honey. Tone is everything. Or if you have to keep repeating yourself. Ooh. You know what? So
if I gotta do it twice,
right.
The conversation is dead. I'm done.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
I've been telling my son, if I was to call him out here right now and tell him what are the things mommy does not like. She don't like no liar. She does not like repeating herself. I've been telling him since he was a young kid. Now I will repeat myself if you didn't understand me. I will repeat myself if you didn't hear me. And then I definitely who that said that? Patrick said that about tone. Yes, Patrick said it about tone. I'll definitely repeat myself if the person that I'm talking to feels that I was too blunt with them, or I was a little bit too forward or something, I'll make sure I explain myself and I'll say it in a different type of way or a different tone so that they're understanding that I'm not yelling at them. I'm not screaming at you. I'm actually trying to communicate with you and tell you how I'm feeling. And maybe I said it in a harsh way. So I have to take that step back and, readjust and realign and say, okay, let me talk to that person a little bit differently, especially if they got like sensitive skin, because I can dig in sometimes. I can dig in sometimes, but if they got sensitive skin, I just be like, "Ooh, this ain't gonna work."
You really have to have tough skin with me,
right?
I have it. So between competition and completion.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think, Pharaoh, that a lot of women compete against their mates, against their man?
There's a line between okay. I'm sorry, I was trying to go back and read too. It's not mind reading. We tell you by our movements, but you keep saying that like you're showing you by your actions. So I'm gonna go back to that comment real quick. You keep saying that you show by your movements. There's only so many moves. It's like a game, of chess. There's only so many moves you could do. If you're still not, having that conversation with that person, and you're saying, well, you guys feel like you're talking to nobody, like nobody's listening, or you feel like you can't communicate without that other person seeing your side, then you might have to try to learn how to communicate effectively, with your spouse, your person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just say your mate, your husband and wife or whatever, because there's so many different people. So with your person, so if you're sitting there and you're trying to have a conversation, but you're talking in circles, that's not going to work. And if you're sitting there and you're trying to make moves, but you're not communicating, that might not work either, because you're just doing a bunch of movements, but they're not understanding exactly what you're doing because you're not communicating it, So that's something,
We all find a way to compete, and our egos can get away. Now,
with your spouse, your person.
Well, wait, as a woman, we have ego too. So it's no way you're gonna sit and say you don't have an ego. However, most women are more submissive
right
to men. We don't want to be in competition with you at all. If anything, we want you to help to uplift us, and we want to uplift you too.
Right, absolutely.
Whatever you got going on, so.
Yeah, the challenge comes in when we learn to challenge how we learn our behavior. Oh, that's true too. That is true. That's a good point. The challenge comes in when we learn to challenge how we learned our behavior. That's true. That's a very valid point. I call it eliminating great opportunity. Okay, okay. I like that. How you broke that down. Eliminating great opportunity. Yeah, but like Cash said, you have to. I know these two people up here right now. Baby, how you say it? Baby. If you come in incorrect, it's just like, okay, just have several seats, sir, because that's not going to work. And I'll say it nicely, but at the same time, you just have to understand where I'm coming from. So
you are.
So I think differently. Yeah, that's true. So yeah. Good afternoon. So that's good. I have to have you on the panel one day too, so you can because it's nice to read your comments, but it'd be nice if you came up and actually talked about it from a male's point of view. So I was trying to get everybody's point of view. I want to get women's point of view, not just be on here man bashing. I want men to come on here and talk about their topics too, how they feel. Going down in the conversation and reading is cool, but I want people to come up here and actually talk about it too. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Look, Patrick, you said something. It's your tone. Like my delivery. I know if I'm really upset, I'm going to pause for a second because I know I'm going to come out the wrong way.
Right.
Okay. But if I take a minute, well, not a minute, about 30, 42, 3 hours.
Look, give me some time.
Talk to you more educated and calmly about what I need to discuss with you.
Right. Yeah, that comes with growth, because somebody that's like 18, 19, 20, they might not catch that right away. They're just going to go, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, right. Right. It's like as you get older, you be like, okay, like you said, you gotta take that breath, and then that's something that you know that you need. You be like, okay, I need this time. Let me get myself together.
Just like they want to step out, just don't leave the house. Like I said, you can step out to your man cave, you can step out to another room, but give me a second so I can come back because I want to be very respectful. I don't want to be disrespectful to you, at all.
Oh, I like that. He said it only sounds like men bastions when men that weren't raised by men. Yeah, okay, well, we got a real one in here. But yeah, but yes, absolutely right. And if you know how to adjust, I think that if you know yourself, I think that's important too. In any relationship, you have to know yourself first. People ask you straight off the rip, like, oh yeah, you might be a little bit off key. You might be a little bit, you might be a little bit out there, but you share that with your person. They might need to know that, you might need to know that, hey, I don't do this well. I don't communicate well. I feel this type of way, when you don't listen on X, Y, Z. So you need to be able to communicate that to your person and let them know, like, hey, this is where I'm coming from. This is how I feel about certain things. And then, a good question, especially when you're talking to your person, is to ask them, like, okay, you ask them a couple of things. One, do they understand what you're talking about? And it's not about no lecture. It's just like, okay, look, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. We're going down the same road. We're in the same book on the same page. We're not just, just sitting there talking and not getting through, and in the same way on the opposite, it has to be reciprocated from one person to the other. And the man has to feel comfortable enough to say, like, hey, let's talk about this. And, after you're done having a discussion, do we get to a final, understanding with each other? I think that's very important. Because if you don't, then it's all for none. It's like you did everything for nothing. And it's like, okay, we done sat there and talked for 45 minutes to an hour and we didn't get no resolution. Right. We're like, okay, I'm glad we talked. And then tomorrow is the same conversation. It's like, wait a minute. I'm wasting my time, my energy, and my breath. Right. Right. Oh my God. I dated this one person. Like I said, on here, we're not going to talk about people's names because, it is being aired on different platforms. And I want everybody to feel comfortable. So I was dating this one person. If it's you, hey, don't say your name. It was best that they like to read. So they had a journal, I had a journal, and then we had a joint journal. So in the joint journal, we would go in there and we'd write down accolades, and we would write down appreciations, and we'll write down just certain different things. It was something nice, we shared together. That was our journal. And then in your personal journal, you write whatever you want. And he was like, yeah, well, if you're trying to communicate something to me, if you feel like I'm not getting it when you talk to me, like put it in our shared journal. But it made it so easy to move. Like it was like fluid because we did talk a lot, but it was so much easier for him to read and like really digest what I was saying because he read it and he inhaled it. Like, it was in him. He was like, I totally get where you're coming from. And he's like, I'm going to work on that. And like, I didn't have to go back and like, did you understand what I mean? I didn't have to do all that. It was like, he got it. And then he made, Top Dog was talking about movement. He made the moves. He was making the moves to like, okay, she don't like when I come home and take my drawers off and put them on the counter. She don't like that. And so she put it in the journal, She said it to me 1,000 times and I'm not getting it, but she put it in the journal. I get it. So now I'm coming home, I'm taking my drawers off, I'm putting them in the dirty clothes where they're supposed to go. Not putting them on top of the counter. But that was just his way of communicating. Like he preferred to read.
Let me tell you something. I really like that. I'm sorry, but I
really.
No, you good.
Me too, girl. I'm like, dang, is it the light?
I'm sorry.
Me too. I'm like, is it the light?
It's the light.
Yeah, I was gonna put the fan on, but I was like, it'll start moving the curtain and stuff. I was like, dang, I need to drop the air or something. It's sweaty. But go ahead. I'm sorry. You say you really like that as well. Yeah.
I had never had somebody do that, and I just think that's awesome right there.
You said conversation heating up.
Conversation heating up.
Right. I was doing the same thing. I was like, goodness. Oh God. But yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It was nice. And then look at you. One of my sisters that lives in Florida, she was saying, when I was going because I was going through counseling with another relationship. I've had so many, but yeah, I was going through another relationship, and she was saying, yeah, do words of affirmation. So we did those every morning, and then you just put them in a jar. Like you did a whole bunch of them for the week, and then you just go and pull one out, and then like one, you could just put like little things to do and little things to say to your partner. And it didn't matter if he wrote it down or if I wrote it down. We just always added to it, but then we'd take it out and put it into another one. And so like that day, we like start your day off with a kiss. And so he'll come and give me a kiss in the morning. Or, if I was the first person up, I would go and give him a kiss in the morning. That was our thing for the day. So we'll put it in the other one. But that was also, it was very nice to have that. So I tried it in another relationship. It just didn't work. It was like, I ain't pulling nothing from no job.
You know how people are so different. And of course, are different species too. However, you said something. You said he would come and kiss you on the forehead, whatever, and you expect that the next guy comes. You don't expect that from him, but probably something that you like, you enjoy. Right. You want him to do the same thing. So you had him do forehead kisses. I'm getting to a point because I had that. My last relationship. That was probably the sweetest thing he ever did, other than the person that he was.
Right.
Was every morning he kissed me on my forehead. And when I hear another man say it, I'm thinking, ooh, I like that, but you don't want any comparison. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard because, we are humans. And it becomes difficult when you try to separate, even like, okay, because like I always hear like, oh, you're carrying all this baggage. I was like, no, I threw out the trash. Recycle. I threw out the recycled trash and the regular trash. I threw out all the trash. Like the trash is gone. I don't went to counseling. I don't went to talk to people. So I feel like I've gotten everything off my chest, and then like, okay, I'm ready. It's a clean slate. And then so what I will do, and then I'm going like in two different directions. So what I will do is I'll sit there and I'll tell like the person that I'm talking to, the new person, oh, these are the things I dislike. So if you're coming at me with these things, then you could just keep moving because I've been through this. I don't want this, and I'm not going to accept this. So I will do that.
You're saying this up front? I mean,
not like as soon as like, hi, my name is Boss. I'm not saying hi, my name is Boss, and these are the things I don't like. No, it's not like that. Yeah, it's not like as soon as I walk in, I'm like, hey, I'm Boston. No, these are my list of things I don't like. Oh, you check all those boxes? Never mind, you're gone. No, just in.
You doing an interview when you meet?
No, definitely not that. Just in the conversation, when you're starting to get to know each other, and we're opening up a little bit more. And, I'm like, oh, okay. Or, okay, let me say this. If I start seeing things that I didn't like from a previous relationship, I will make a mention of it. And I don't go like I said, I'm not a nitpicker. I'll sit there and let something eat away at me. And I just go, ooh, I can't stand. Like one thing that like really is a pet peeve of mine when they sit there, and two things, when they bite their fingers and they like, where'd you spit that to? In my house? Wait, what? We are not outside. We are not outside. Hey, daddy long legs. Right.
First of all, I'm gonna say this. I don't speak, okay?
Me neither.
So if somebody else speaks, that's their thing. But God, if you don't spit something,
Appreciate
I'm like,
it.
Where did that go?
Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Oh, that mercy.
Yes, but that's so. Whether it's food in their mouth or whether it's they biting their nails, thank you so much. I appreciate you. That just gets on my nerves because I be looking like. And like, or if they do it in the car, that's the same thing. I'll be looking like, where did you spit that? I do not like that at all. And so I'll just be looking and I'll be like, okay. So, and then I make a mental note of everything. So I try not to, like I said, I'm not a nitpicker, but I will sit there and say, hey.
So how did you gradually get into that and not be somebody, she just nagging, she don't like this, she just bringing this up. How are you gradually getting into that?
Over time, it does take time. But like I said, I'll let something eat away at me. Like it might be bothering me that somebody's doing something. I don't want to be like, stop that. I don't want to sit there and make them feel uncomfortable. So I will eventually talk to them about it and just say like, hey, I have plenty of napkins, if you want, I can. Yeah, yeah. You know, when you biting your nails, or if you have some extra food in, like, can you just, just put it in a napkin, put it in the trash? Well, I don't really be having nothing in it. You spitting something out. Right. Oh goodness. Yeah, and Black Velvet says I just like a nail biter. It drives me crazy. Yeah, I don't like that either. That's like I would just be like, oh, okay, that's what we doing. I'm like, what you worried about? What you scared of? But yes, so I just talk about it over time. You know what I'm saying? So and then like you have to have that time in order to get there. So I'll just talk about it over time, and I'll just be like, hey, when you do this, and then I'll just break it down to them and let them know what it is, what's going on. Good afternoon, good afternoon. And that's what I'll do. I'll just have that conversation with them. My mama told me everything you touched this week is under that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much underneath your nails. I have some bad habits. I wish the military. So I was in the military, so I got to do better. Okay, I mean I was in the military too. I don't know what bad habits. Would you like to elaborate a little bit? We got 7 minutes left. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more? What was your bad habits? Yeah, I want to know what that's about. You can jump in real quick if you're able to talk, and that way you don't have to type everything up. Oh, it's a yeah. Okay. Give her 1 second, y'all. All right, she's gonna come right back, y'all. Give her 1 second. It was just having a delay. But yeah, I would definitely like to know about your bad habits that you have from the military, Fraser. That would be interesting to hear about. And like I said, you can jump in and talk about it instead of texting it or typing it if you want. You could just jump in and let us know. Yeah. But yeah. Great conversation, awesome. Bye. I'll see you another time. All right, thank you so much for coming through. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You definitely have to come on the panel too. Definitely have to do that.
We go. You guys check him out, boss. If you don't follow him, you should.
I think I do follow him from my other page. I just follow him right now though. But I think I follow him from my other page from 42. But yeah, so Fraser, he might be trying to sit there and talk about all his habits right now. We got 6 minutes left. I'm not going past 7 o'clock. So I want to keep it so I can keep it for the editing purposes. It makes it easy to go for 1 hour. Then we can jump back on later, talk about whatever if we want. A little later on, I don't know. I might be stepping out, but we'll see. But yeah, so like I said, I think it's very important. And we basically all said the same thing. It comes down to communication. So that is a want and a need for pretty much everybody. Getting to know your partner is very important, and speaking your mind, speaking freely, not having your what did she say? Bessie said your representative there 24/7. That was another thing we talked about. That was on episode 1. We were talking about getting to know your partner, and that was very important to discuss so that they knew what's going on. Z, how are you? We're definitely sitting there having it where you're talking to representative at first because that's for everybody. They want to put their best foot forward. But then there's sometimes you have to put that thing away and be like, okay, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. This is the wants and the needs out of the relationship, and be able to have that communication freely without feeling some type of way, without having to be fake or without having to lie about stuff all the time. Like a lot of people I'll talk to, and they're like, yeah, there's no reason to lie because now you have to back up that lie with a lie and then another lie with what's the point? You're gonna just lie yourself in a circle. Then you can't even remember the first lie. You know what I'm saying? You can't even remember the first lie. So then it's just like, okay, just stay truthful and stay honest, and then just talk about whatever it is that's important. And even if it's uncomfortable, you still have to have those conversations, because if you don't, then you're going to find yourself upset or, hurting or feeling like, yeah, it just goes over. Yes. And then you go get that 20-year-old pop off. So it's like, I try so hard to maintain and just be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to keep it peaceful, and I'm just going to keep it 100 across the board. I don't have nothing to lie about. If I say I was here, I was here. If I wasn't, I wasn't. And then that's it. There's no reason to be like, oh, let me check your phone and all that. But if you want to, there's nothing to hide. But
Pastor made another point. She said you have to continue to date each other. So we know that, right? Mm-hmm. But you definitely have to continue to date and enjoy one another.
Absolutely.
If not, it can go stale.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I met some couples. Oh, you said it's going to be every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I met some couples last night. I went to the lounge. They're trying to make me the lounge manager there because they're like, "Oh, you have such a great personality." I was like, "But I'm not trying to be here all the time." But I would love to do it, but still, because I'll get to meet celebrities and stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, right up my alley. However, we met couples last night. There was a comedian up there, one of my friends from long, long ago, and he was asking how many couples out there have been married. And or how many couples out there are married. And so there was like, a bunch of couples raising their hands. I was like, okay, he's like, this is nice to see. It's nice to see. And he's like, well, how long have you guys been married? So he was going around the room. These people have been married for a long time. It was like 20 years, 21 years, 32 years, 37 years. It was the longest couple that was together, 45 years. 45 years it was in there. Hey, good afternoon. And I was like, dang. And so the guy who went to him, he was like, tell us your secret. And then the husband was like, I just listen to whatever she says. And then so everybody started laughing. He was like, good point. And then so he said, ma'am, so what do you tell him to stay in line and make sure that, and she goes, no, I listen to his heart. And I was like, it was just like the sweetest thing, you know what I'm saying, to hear them say. He was like, I listen. So he's saying that he listens to whatever she tells him. And she's like, I just listen to his heart. And I feel it in his heart that something's going on, whether good, bad, or different. They talk about everything. And I was like, I want that kind of love. You know what I'm saying? I was like, it was so sweet to see, but you don't see that nowadays. You know, like my parents, they was married for 30 plus years and then they got divorced. But yes, I'm telling you.
We want to believe it's true now.
All right, yeah. So yeah, I'm like, look, I'm living on that. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for that 45 years. You know what I'm saying? And so, but after the show, she said some other stuff, and I was just like, okay, girl. She's like, look, keep the hair going because this thing. Make sure you tighten up and don't let the go of the grip. I was like, girl, you're going over to the left, but that was like, look. Now I said 45 years. Now I know. Now I know. But I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, he keeps us spoiled. And I was like, okay. I said, yeah, if you're doing everything that he wants you to do, you know, you at home and you're doing everything that, you know, that he's asking of you, then of course he's gonna want to make sure you're straight too. So yeah, he's taking care of home. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm looking for. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm definitely looking for. I'll be like, look, I'll give you everything, unlimited everything. But I want that same thing in return. If I can't sit there and contact you morning, noon, and night, then don't contact me morning, noon, and night. If I can't sit there and text you and be like, hey, you know, how's your day? And you can't talk because so-and-so and whoever else is there. Okay, well, then when I'm busy and I'm out, then.
You have to, I mean, they got friends and time to go deal with.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No. Girl, you know I'm not that type. I'm not that type. Yeah, you are. Look, you know I'm not that type. But I'm just saying, as far as like, if you could do a random text and be like, hey, just checking on you, make sure you're good. I should be able to do that too. Yeah, and it shouldn't be like 2 days and not hear from you. But anyways, it is 7:00. We about to shut it down. And then, like I said, if y'all want to come back on later on, we can, and we can chop it up about some other stuff, some TikTok or whatever. But I need to go ahead and close this down so I can go do my editing later, and then I'm gonna do my outro commercial real quick. But I appreciate you so much, Cash, for being here with me today. And yes, and we'll definitely do this again soon. Like I said, every Saturday I'm gonna have a panel. We're gonna switch it up from time to time. I had like a list of people as far as counselors, and I'm like, they was like, well, I'm not on TikTok. I'm like, yeah. They're like, let me know when you start doing it on StreamYard, because then I can join you over there. I was like, why don't you just get a TikTok? Like, just get your TikTok. But I appreciate y'all all being here. Thank you so much. And Boss Lady start out. Thank you so much again. Peace. If I can't even get out. Look at it.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.